Hello, students. I welcome you to the first part of our governance for March month. So, March month we have started, right? So, this is the first one governance video. In the March, we will have one special session, one specific session related to the COVID-19 related specific governance initiatives, right? Because from March itself, you will see many of the governance initiative related to COVID also. In the April, majority will be dominated by it, right? Let us start. First one is Swachh Manch portal. So first we are discussing some apps and portals. So first one is Swachh Manch web portal. So what is this? It's a part of the Swachh Bharat campaign only. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan urban component is handled by the Ministry of Housing and the Urban Affairs, and the rural component of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is handled by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Please remember that. Okay, some sort of both the ministry have been refigured since the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has been launched. So, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, what is this web portal? This web portal is basically, imagine a volunteer, a crowdsourcing portal where all the activities done by the volunteers are registered here. Okay, so it aims to bring together all the stakeholders contributing to the Swachh Bharat mission under a common platform. It will allow the stakeholders to create, invite, and participate in the volunteering activities around the neighborhood. So they will upload some pictures and everything is on this particular portal, right? So this is Swachh Manch portal. Next is National Ayurveda Morbidity Code. No, if you're following our videos, so you know what many times I have discussed while discussing about Ayush, that the one of the problem the Ayush face is the problem of the standardization. So standardization in terms of the practice, in standardization in terms of the diagnosis, or finally in terms of the solutions, right? Or the prescription of the drugs or the different methods. So on for that front, this particular code has been created. So it's a comprehensive classification of the disease described in Ayurveda as well as standardized Ayurveda terminology. So it will do all these things. So standardization and bringing out on a universal and a common platform. Okay. Now this is all being uploaded on the Namaste portal. So Namaste portal can also be asked that Namaste portal is related to what? So the Namaste portal is National Ayush Morbidity Standardized Terminologies Electronic Portal. So that is Namaste portal. Okay. Now it aimed at the, as we discussed, standardization of the Ayurveda diagnostic and treatment protocol. So this Namaste portal, let us discuss about it. So it will provide standardized terminology and morbidity codes for Ayurveda, along with Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani system. So 3 systems currently are being there. Okay. Okay. So this is Namaste portal. This screenshot directly from the portal itself. So Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani. Okay, so it will serve as a reference repository. So as I told you, a repository. So all the practitioners can see, okay, this is the standard that been decided by the government. Okay, so Unani, Siddha and Unani terminologies and morbidity codes for further development of these terminologies and codes. Okay, right. Next is ERONet. So this is started by the Election Commission of India. So the idea is to a web-based system for the electoral officials, so as to process the applications for the electoral road management, doing all these things on with respect to the ICT. Okay, so the process of the electoral roll management, the deletion of the name of the people who are deceased from the portal, inclusion of the many of the people which are entering into the electoral roll. So all these things, field verification, all these things will be done by this particular portal. Okay, so it will standardize the form processing standard database, standard template for e-roll printing, automates the process of electoral management, field process and all these things. Okay, so remember, this ERONet is with respect to the Election Commission and process of the Election Commission. Okay, if the question on these portal and the fronts being asked, it will be a very shallow level question, right? They just want you to know about it because there are many of the portals. This is the 10th month we are discussing. Every month I have discussed at least 5 to 6 portals. So in average we have 60 to 70 portals itself. Okay, so you just need to know about the portal itself. Okay, on the shallow basis. Okay, this portal performs this function and that's it. Next is project monitoring portal. So just like we have read earlier 2 portals. First is Pragati, which operates at the level of the PMO, And second, we have read about the Gati portal. Gati portal, which operates with the Nitin Gadkari, that is Minister for the Road and Highways. Now, this particular PMG portal works at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal. Okay. So, what is this portal is for? For the again the regulatory clearances. So, this is he reviews the Mr. Piyush Goyal reviews the process of the infrastructure projects on the PMG portal. So the idea is to institutional mechanism of the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this portal helps to clarification of the projects which are awaiting the regulatory clearances from the ministry. Okay, and they have a threshold. For example, the projects with more than 500 crores are eligible for the PMG assistance. So if they are facing some sort of regulatory clearance directly at the ministerial level, intervention will be done, and the quick clearance can be given, or the quick checking can be done at the priority level. Okay, so portal is assisted by the Invest India. What is Invest India? So Invest India is basically what you can say is the first gateway. Just one second. Invest India is the first gateway. For example, investor wants to come and invest in India. So Investor India is the first gateway they have to cross. So it's an official investment promotion facilitation center. Obviously, it will not be restrictive in nature. Rather, it will be facilitative in nature. So providing all the, diverting it, go to this ministry or go to this ministry. So helping these people out. Hand holding of these investors will be done by the Invest India. So it's an Invest Promotion Facilitation Agency of India, and that's the first point of reference for the Investor India. Some investor wants to come in India, they contact with the Invest India, then they handhold him, support him for the regulatory clearances, what they have to do, what are the different conditions, and all these things. Next is Scores app. So Scores app is launched by the SEBI. Okay, so mobile version of the SEBI complaints redressal system. So from the name itself, now you can see Scores not related to the cricket. Okay, it is related to the complaints redressal system. That means a grievance redressal mechanism. These systems, I'm telling you, when we write in the mains exam, right? I'm telling you a bit about mains as well, because many of the students are doing it for mains as well. So, for example, in the mains, questions asked in the ethics and in the GS2 about the grievance redressal mechanism. So you can quote this new initiatives that are being taken, okay, and that gives a diversification to your answer. Instead of just writing what is the definition, what is significance, you should write about these different initiatives being taken. Okay, so it allows the entities to lodge a grievance against the listed companies, market intermediaries, and all the categories of the market participants against any wrongdoing or unethical practices being done by them. Okay, next is Umang app, really important app. E-governance, M-governance. If the question on M-governance comes and you don't write about Umang app, then you will lose at least half a mark. Why? Because it was one of the flagship programs of India that is called Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance. On this app, all the information related to the government service, various government services, gas booking, Aadhaar, everything is available on this particular mobile app. You don't have to download a different mobile app, but one app for all the government service. And this is why this is an important application developed by the government. Okay, so developed by the MeitY and the National E-Governance Division, 2017. Always remains in use. Okay, so power of one, availing various government services on your fingertips. Next is Udyam Sakhi portal, not Shakti, Udyam Sakhi portal. Sakhi means sister. So by the Ministry of MSME. Now many of we will see, for example, we will see one of the portals created by the Niti Aayog as well, for the women entrepreneurship or women entrepreneurs. So do not confuse between different portals. So first is Udyam Sakhi portal by MSME itself. So this portal is encourage women entrepreneurs by creating business model revolving around the low cost product and service to resolve the social inequality. Okay, so Udyam Sakhi portal by the MSME. Work is the same. Women entrepreneur, women on enterprises, promoting women enterprises. Okay, so it enlightens women entrepreneurs through what the portal provides. Many of the marketing information, specific I'm talking about incubation facilities, right? Business meets seller, business meets buyer, seller meets and exhibitions. Okay, mentors they provide, networking event they provide, right? Entrepreneurs learning tools. So many of the hand-holding support to the entrepreneurs which they require is provided by this, and especially the women entrepreneurs. Next is Bhumi Rashi portal. Now this particular portal is listed as one of the best practices also. When you talk about the land acquisition in India, one of the best practices or in the way forward, you can write about this particular portal, Bhumi Rashi portal. What is this? This is a portal this is a e-governance initiative by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So the portal intends to expedite the process of the land acquisition for the national highways. Okay. So it will digitalize and automate the entire process of the land acquisition. So it will make land acquisition error free, make more transparent at every stage being processed at the real time level. Okay. So for land acquisition, real time information, and it has helped in the land acquisition of the many of the areas. Okay, so this is one of the best practices when it comes to land acquisition. Land acquisition is touted as one of the biggest problem faced by the Indian investors or for the infrastructural projects. Next is two institutions we will read. Why they are in the news? Because Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is exploring the possibility to create one schemes for the beggar. Okay, and one integrated schemes so as to for their identification, starting from identification, then rehabilitation, some medical facility, some education, skill development. Okay, so Ministry of Social Justice is thinking of it. Now in the PIB, the news was there, and then they have mentioned about these institutions. So in this context, what is already being done, it is not that nothing is being done for the beggars. So ministry has released some sort of 1 crore and some amount for National Backward Class Finance Development Corporation for skill development of the program, and some money for this particular institute also. Okay, now let us discuss one by one. So the main objective of the proposed skill development scheme, proposed. Okay, so what they're proposing is that some sort of vocational, that we will discuss, vocational skill, identification, rehabilitation, these things will be given to them so that they could do their own income generating activity, so that they don't have to resort to the begging. Okay, so very small thing, for example, hand rolled agarbatti, embroidery, and all these small things can be given so that they can get some sort of small income generating activities. Okay, now we're discussing about National Institute of Social Defense. Along with the other institution, Backward Class Finance Development Commission, this one, this National Institute of Social Defense. So they have released around 1 crore for this also. Now we'll discuss one by one both of them. First is National Institute of Social Defense. 1 crore have been provided for the development of the beggar to this institute, right? Now what is this institute itself? This is a autonomous body under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, central advisory body for it. Okay, registered under the society, so not an statutory body. It's not an statutory body. So it's a nodal training and research institute in the field of the social defense. Okay, so the mandate, as it is a central advisory body to this ministry, so the mandate obviously will be to provide inputs to the social defense program of the government, training, research, and documentation. Okay, this one, finance, National Backward Class Finance and Development Council. So this particular is a Government of India undertaking under the aegis of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and it's a company, not a society, so registered under a Companies Act, not for profit company. Okay, so the idea is to, from the name itself, backward class finance and development. So the idea is to promote the economic and the developmental activity for the benefit of the backward class. Okay, for skill development and the self-employment ventures. Okay, then next institute, we are not discussing the institutions, right? So National Disaster Response Fund, NDRF. So it is the only dedicated force body for the disaster response in the world. Nowhere in the world there is a specific body that is created for the disaster itself. So it's the only dedicated disaster response force in the world, NDRF. Okay, so formed in 2006, after the National Disaster Management Act has been passed. So it is under this particular act itself. So it works under the National Disaster Management Authority, which is a statutory body under 2005 Act. Okay, which lays down the policy, plans and guidelines for the disaster management. Currently 12 battalions are there, and new 4 battalions are sanctioned by the ministry cabinet. So we will discuss we will see so what are the functions of NDRF every time the disaster is not there. So during the disaster, obviously they will give a specialized response because they are trained for that. Impending disaster, they will do for the proactive involvement. But what they will do not during non-disaster period, they will do for the skill upgradation training, creating resilience community, familiarization of exercise and the mock drills. All these things will they will do during the non-disaster period. Okay, so it's a specialized body for the purpose of the specialized response under the Disaster Management Act of the 2005 that I discussed. Now, this act is very important for our mains perspective because disaster management itself is mentioned in your GS3. Now, disaster management is only one question or two question have been asked. Only one question is specific to disaster management is being asked every year. So you should prepare at least this Disaster Management Act, different bodies under it. For example, the question can be asked on NDMA. What are the achievements or what are the lacunae the body faces? Then NDRF, the question can be asked, and many of the things. Because then they are focusing on more on the institutional support for disaster management. Now NDRF, we have discussed 12 battalions. So these are not 12 battalions, but 10 battalions mentioned here. But still, they are, you can see, segregated all over the place. Some battalions specific for a specific type of disaster. For example, CBR and disaster, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear disasters. Okay, so battalions is spread across the place. So if any strike happens, they mobilize from there only. Okay, next is two institutions we're going to read, that is JSA and IAI-PSN. So with respect to COVID, they have asked government to act fast. This is a mid-March news. So what is All India People Science Network? The question I don't think is very important. However, if the question is being asked, you need to know what the institute are. So they are just nothing but a people's science movement in India. For example, many of the voluntary groups come together and they say that we need to improve scientific temper in India, or we need to be more scientific, or the science should work more for the people, something like that, creating a pressure group for the government. So these are the institutes. First, All India People Science Network. Okay, so now formed in 1988 in Kerala. Now they have been expanded. Similarly, Jan Swasth Abhiyan. So Jan Swasth Abhiyan is also the same, coming up with the voluntary organized civil society institutions only. So many of the volunteers come up, volunteer organizations come up, and under this particular umbrella. So Jan Swasth Abhiyan constituted currently of 21 national networks and organizations. Okay, and they work as an NGO for all these things, health, feminist organization. All these people are there, and they create a pressure on the government to create such policies which are relevant for the people, for the health. So that is why they are acting as a pressure group for the government for the response to come up with a prompt and effective COVID response. Next is Arunank. So project Arunank is by the BRO. So they want to create a bridge named as the Porijo Bridge. So this question can come because many of the bridges are also in the news, Bogeyville Bridge and many of the bridges that we have discussed. Bridges and tunnels, please remember. So 3 tunnels that we have discussed and 3 to 4 bridges that we have discussed. So all these things becomes important. Okay. So they called for the reconstruction of the Porijo Bridge and near this area. So you can see near the India-China border, and this bridge becomes a very of strategic importance also. Okay, so who will be developing it? The BRO. So that's a arm of the Ministry of Defense. Okay, Ministry of Defense, BRO. One of my friend is also currently employed in the BRO itself. So Project Arunank is named after the state of the Arunachal Pradesh. Next is National Crime Records Bureau. So National Crime Records Bureau, this institutions we have mentioned many times. So 35th inception day they have celebrated. So 2 of the initiatives have launched, Crime Multi-Agency Center and National Crime Training Center, Cyber Crime Training Center. So first is Crime Multi-Agency Center for sharing the information for heinous crime and other issues related to the interstate coordination. Okay, so sharing of the information among the different states. One of the problem in the police being a state subject, many of time the information remains in silos, because as we discussed, police is a state subject. So information remains in silos, different states. It is not getting transferred to each other. So for that, one initiative has been CCTNS. One initiative has been taken, right? And one of the other initiative being started by the NCRB is this. Then next is National Cyber Crime Training Center. So it is launched for the professional quality e-learning services for the cybercrime. From the name itself, Cybercrime Training Center. So they will do some training for the cybercrime, creating a workforce for that. Now about this NCRB itself, so it is celebrating its 35th year. So it was set up on the recommendation of the National Police Commission. Okay, so it was constituted in 1986. So they have accepted the recommendation of the task force. So it comes up with many of the publications. For example, crimes in India, accidental death database, prisoner statistics, fingerprints in India. All these statistics they come up with. Okay, right. Next is National Interlinking of the Rivers Authority. Now this body has not come up with. Government is thinking to come up with such a body, such a body for the river linking project. Okay, so this is an exclusive body that will work for the river interlinking project. It will take both the interstate and the intra-state projects. Now river interlinking has been on the high on this particular government's agenda, starting with the Ken Betwa link and one of the river link that we have already discussed during the course of this series as well. Currently this work is being done by the National Water Development Agency, NWDA. Okay, now they will create a separate agency for the river interlinking. Okay, then some state governments initiative. First one is the LIFE Mission Life. So life stands for Livelihood Inclusion Financial Empowerment. Livelihood Inclusion Financial Empowerment Housing Scheme. So from the name itself, from the this scheme, life scheme will do. Livelihood Inclusion and Financial Empowerment Housing Scheme. So they will provide some sort of housing coverage to the peoples. So named as the life, and the homeless will be provided with modern housing complex for the provision for pursuing their livelihood, social services. They will receive some assistance, right? Those who are not able to convert their houses into some safe houses, right? They will move into it. Temporary shelters will be provided. So those who are living in the temporary shelters, so for those the assistance will be provided. Okay, but just remember the state government name. Mission Life is for the Kerala government, because they can give the questions like the project this state government, they want you to match itself, or which of the following connection is wrong, because we have discussed many of the state government's initiative. If you remember, over the period of 10 months, this is a 10 month, we have discussed many of the state government's initiative. So they can ask you to arrange it like it. Okay, right. Next is Center for the Internet of the Ethical Thing. So Internets of the Ethical Thing. Okay. This center has been found by the Karnataka government in Bangalore with the collaboration with the World Economic Forum. Okay, so it will bring the value of ethics, study the value of ethics along with the AI, IoT, Internet of Things and all these things together, so as to discuss all the ethical associated with issues associated with this emerging technologies. Then UGC may allow multiple degrees simultaneously. So currently pursuing the multiple degrees simultaneously is not allowed. In 2012 also they have set up one committee on the headed by the Vice Chancellor of the Hyderabad University, which has recommended that the student enrolled in the degree program under a regular mode may be allowed to pursue one more degree in the open or distance learning mode. Okay. However, it was not followed up by UGC. UGC has not allowed for it. But now again they are saying that we need to consider it. Why? Because of the online education. Online education, it is possible. For example, someone is going for the regular college in one institute, for example, Amrita University or Kanpur University. But along with that, he is doing some online courses from IGNOU or something, online or corresponding course from other institute. So it should be allowed so that people can engage into more different things. Those who want to engage and do multiple things simultaneously. And if they clear the exam, then what's an issue, right? If they're able to clear the exam, then there is no problem. Then next one is Women Transforming India Awards. So this particular award is being given by the Niti Aayog initiative. Then obviously what is the point? Women Transforming India Award. So that will given to the women which are women leaders and change makers. Okay. So under the aegis of the Niti Aayog's Women Entrepreneurship Platform with a special focus on the entrepreneurship. Now we have discussed already Women Entrepreneurship Platform. There we have discussed about three things: Iksha Shakti, Gyan Shakti, and Karma Shakti. That is promoting the women. That's with Udyam Sakhi portal. Must have you have read about in MSME recently in this particular session only. Similarly, this is the Niti Aayog's portal, Women Entrepreneurship Platform. Okay, so ecosystem for women and across the India to realize and mentor their entrepreneurship aspiration. So the three things: Iksha Shakti, Gyan Shakti, and Karma Shakti. Iksha Shakti represents the motivating the aspiring so Iksha Shakti means desire, then Gyan Shakti means desire, then knowledge, then support. Karma Shakti, hands-on support to the entrepreneurs, something like that. So under this aegis, the Women Transforming India Award has been given by Niti Aayog. Next is very important one for mains. More importantly, I'll say strategy for National Open Digital Ecosystem. So node. So what is this node? First, we will discuss this small diagram. Then we will discuss this. First, let us discuss this program. So this is an evolution over the e-governance, you can say. Okay, first what we did, Government Tech 1.2. That is, we got automation of the discrete process from offline to online. So for example, we had some data offline manually, then we get the data online. So this is 1.0, digitalization of the public records. Then 2.0, what we did digital E2 is service delivery. So unified e-government portals. So all the portals have come on one platform. For example, Umang app sort of. So basic online data analysis. Third, this is node, enabling ecosystem. So they are building system, then enabling ecosystem. So it will be open, interoperable digital platform offering seamless service across the departmental silos. For example, the best example said to be BHIM app. Earlier, my father is a banker. Earlier, he used to say that transferring money from one account to other account of the single bank itself was difficult. That means it used to take 1 to 2 days. Now you can transfer money from one account to the other account of any bank to the other bank if they're registered on UPI. Majority of the banks are registered on UPI. So it can be done seamlessly. And this is enabling ecosystem node approach. So government frameworks that rules on the platform uses data security and all these things are provided. Right? So analytics led, insight driven and continuously improving. So ecosystem based approach. And this is how national strategy that they have created. Who will support it? Benefit to the citizen will be there, entrepreneurs and business will be there, business for the government bodies will be there. Obviously, you can read it out. These are all the main points. You can all write it down. Okay, so node has been defined as the open and secure delivery platforms anchored by transparent governance mechanism which enable a community of partners to unlock the innovative solution and transform societal outcomes. Not important for the prelims, but important for the mains. Okay, so who has come up with this strategy paper? Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is METI, a white paper on the node. So remember, if the question on the e-governance this year comes, then you should focus on this particular idea. Okay, that the ministry has come with white paper and they've talked about the building or enabling ecosystem approach for the e-governance. So they've given some from UPI and GSTN network. They say GSTN network is also example of the node, Government Tech. Okay, so this is node, very important for our mains examination. Okay, with this we finish our discussion. So let us revise, starting with Swachh Manch. You can just before revision, let us also tell you, use all the governance PPTs or PDFs that you can download for the mains itself, because all the schemes, incentive for different initiative that will be very helpful for your mains, especially writing best case study, writing a government initiative with respect to the different sectors. If you want some apps and portals, you can go directly to the apps and portals. If you want state government initiative, you can directly go to the state government initiative, like that. We will try to do something for your mains itself, don't worry. For example, at least classifying the government schemes with respect to health, education, we'll do that. Along with that, we are also comprising the ministry level schemes as well. So it can help you also. For example, we have compiled all the tourism related schemes. So you can see Ministry of Tourism. In the next month, we'll compile sector wise health, education, that. So you can see from that itself. Right. So let us start. So Swachh Manch web portal, that is a voluntary web portal under the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan where you can upload all the activities, voluntary activities. Then National Ayurveda Morbidity Code, where we talked about Namaste portal. The idea is to standardize the different Ayurveda, Siddha, and Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani. Okay. Then we discuss Aeronet. Aeronet is for the Election Commission of India, for the web-based system for the officials. Then project monitoring group, I've told you, just like on the basis of the Pragati and Gati portal. Please remember Gati portal, important for this year. In this portal, these portals. Pragati, I don't think it will come, but these two portals can come. Okay, under which ministry it is there? Piyush Goyal means Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Then Scores app by SEBI. Then Umang app, very important, unified mobile application for new age governance. Okay. Next is Udyam Sakhi portal under the Ministry of MSME. Then Bhumi Rashi portal, Ministry of Roads and Highways. I told you it's a best case study for land acquisition. Then these two institutions we have read: National Institute of the Social Defense. So it's a society under the Ministry of Social Justice. So it's an advisory body. It does the training, research into different fields. Then backward class, National Backward Class Finance Development. Then NDRF, we have discussed about NDRF battalions, right? What it does during the non-disaster period. Then these two institutions, Jan Swasthya Abhiyan and All India People Science Network. Then Arunak project, Arunak BRO is building a bridge there. Then National Crimes Records Bureau, NCRB. Then National Interlinking of the Rivers Authority, new authority that is being proposed by the government. Then Mission Life by the Kerala government. Then Internet Center of the Internet of the Ethical Things, World Economic Forum, and Karnataka government. Then UGC may allow simultaneously degrees. Then Women Transforming India Awards, and finally we ended with the strategy for National Open Digital Ecosystem. Okay, very important, I told you, with respect to the mains examination. So with this we finish our governance part 1. In the part 2 and part 3 we'll be discussing the rest of the things. One special section that we have added this time is COVID-19 specific initiatives, and we will discuss that. Okay, with this we finish the first one. See you in the next class. Bye bye for now.